The biggest thing that holds people back from getting lean and maintaining their leanness is their habits. A lot of people, when they get lean, or even if they're not lean, they don't account for their habits. So, in other words, when they go out at night or they go out to a restaurant or whatever it might be, they completely disregard what they're eating, what they're drinking, what they're having, whatever it might be. They completely don't put any effort or they don't have a game plan when they go out. So they'll go out, they'll have the appetizer, they'll have the bread with the butter, they'll have their main dish, and then they'll have dessert, and then go back home. And the following day, wake up and be like, hey, my progress just completely rewinded. Like, what is going on? So you're basically disregarding everything you did the night before. And that is a big problem because it only takes one night to screw up a week's worth of progress. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's why a lot of people don't get in shape. You could work out like a horse for the entire week. You could eat so clean for the entire week. And all it takes to mess that up is one night of eating like crap. I've been down that road myself and I had to learn the hard way. Every time I would put in a week's worth of work, I would go and mess it up with just eating a bunch of calories on it and just binging. And I ended up building such a bad relationship with food because I was constantly having these peaks and valleys in my progress. Like I'm peaking and then dropping, peaking and dropping, peaking and dropping week after week after week after week. And majority of people are doing this. I see it with my friends, I see it with family, I see it in public, I see it with everybody. It's one of the most commonly talked about things on the internet. So today I want to talk about a few things that can help you when you go out and not shit the bed completely, right? How can I save my progress whilst going out with my friends and family and still having a good time? So one of the things that I really like to do is calorie banking. Now, many of you guys might be like, what in the world is calorie banking? It's literally what it sounds like. It's literally saving my calories for the rest of the day, if that makes any sense. So, in other words, if I'm going out, I am making sure that I'm leaving majority of my calories for that dinner. And this way I go out, I do not feel guilty about what I do because I already had a strategy going in. And my strategy was, hey, save some calories for that dinner because I know I am going to eat a lot of calories, right? Regardless of if you get a steak, you get whatever it is, it's going to be cooked in butter, it's going to be cooked in oil, and it's just going to be calorie dense. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So I go out and I'm strategic. I still get a lean source of protein. I make sure that I get something that's going to adhere to my goals. So I get something that's lean in protein, good fats, and something, you know, complex carbs maybe or something, right? A baked potato, rice, whatever it might be, I'll get that. Yes, it is boring. It is boring, but for me personally, and I think for most people out there, if you can find the place that offers a good steak, you'll be more than happy, right? When it comes to the appetizers, I try to stay away from it because once you start dipping into that, man, it is hard to really pull back. I think people really underestimate, you know, or rather overestimate their willpower, not underestimate. They overestimate their willpower. They're just like, I'll just have one. I'll just have one. And it's like it becomes two. Two becomes three. Three becomes four. And it's like we're just undoing everything. We're just undoing everything. So my strategy is if I'm going to go out, I'm going to make sure that I have calories for that dinner. And even if I have calories for that dinner, I am still going to be conservative. I will usually start the day off, the day that I know I'm going out, I'll start off the day with some high protein meal, right? I'll start off maybe with an omelet, good protein, good fats. I feel satiated for the day. And maybe after that, I'll throw in a shake. That's it. That's all I'll literally have before I go and eat at a restaurant, right? Because I want to get to my goal, which my goal is to stay lean. Stay lean or get lean. That is literally my goal. And if that's your goal too, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. Getting lean is tough, right? You need that willpower. You need to be able to be disciplined, right? So, calorie bank. That's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, if you know you're the type of person that's going to go out to eat on the weekend, I would keep my calories extremely low during the week. The reason I would do this is because you already create a pretty far deficit for yourself. Now, I don't recommend this to everybody, okay? Because a lot of people can try to do this, and what can end up happening is they just end up binging like crazy, right? As a matter of fact, I would not recommend this to most people. I would only recommend it to the people that are able to stick to the plan and not let that, thought of like food and dessert and all those kinds of things get to them. So you're really going to cut your calories down during the week. Obviously, you want to still make sure those calories are nutrient dense, so you're getting the right amount of protein, fats, and the rest of your calories would come from carbs. So you want to make sure you're having a well-balanced diet. It's going to be tough, but it's doable. And then the day you go out to eat, you've created this really big deficit as opposed to the first strategy that I gave you, right? It's not only that one day you're calorie banking, you're sort of calorie banking the entire week, if that makes any sense. So this is the strategy I'm currently doing right now because we're in summer and I'm usually eating out a little bit more than usual. So I say, hey, let's be a little bit, you know, ahead of the curve here, right? Let's kind of just make sure that we're cutting back on our calories. And this way, when I go out, the damage is reduced, right? And we just hop back on the horse the following day. There's literally no issue in doing that. A lot of people think, oh, I got to eat so much to like maintain this amount of muscle mass. Trust me, you're overestimating how much you need to eat in order to maintain your muscle tissue. You don't have to be eating that much, right? A lot of people like to overeat on protein and all this other stuff, and they think they need to be like just eating a surplus of calories essentially. When in reality, that's not really what you need to be doing. But there are strategies out there that can literally help you balance your hard work and social time. Yet people don't use them. People just don't use them. And I will never understand why. Actually, I will. Well, I do understand why. And it's because it's tough. Right? But that is literally why you see very few people lean. People are not lean because the process is simple, but it's tough. That's it. That is the best way to put it. It's simple, but it's tough. And you have to be willing to make those sacrifices. So during the week, if I got to cut my calories back to enjoy that one night out with my friends, I'm doing it, right? I got to do it. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to put myself through. So that's what I'm going to do. I got to follow the course. It's a process. I got to do what I got to do. I want to get to my goal, but I also want to have a good time, right? As opposed to just locking myself away, eating clean, and never going out again. This is what I would do if I were in that situation. Another thing you can do, right, is plan your outing more accordingly. So if you know you're going out with a group of friends, tell them, hey, I'm kind of doing this thing right now, right? I'm trying to get lean, I'm on a cut, and I want to make sure that I go to a place that has many options so that, A, we're all getting the food that we like, and B, there's an option for me, right? I want to be able to kind of adhere to my goals, and I want to find a place where I could get a lean source of protein and carbs. And they might call you boring, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, come on, we're going out to have fun. But you got to just shoot your shot there. You got to ask, right? And if they tell you no, you're being, stupid or whatever it might be, then maybe they're not the right group of friends for you, right? Because they don't care enough about your goal, right? Maybe you just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit this one out. That's it. I know it's tough to do, but do you want to get lean, or do you want to be, I hate to say it, but like average, just like everybody else? That's kind of the mindset you need to have when you're trying to get into a certain type of condition. And one last thing I want to kind of mention here. I think that people really spend all this time saying, hey, I'm going to train so hard. I'm going to do all this cardio, do all this stuff in order for me to go out. But they literally forget about the diet instantly. Like, the diet means nothing to them. It's like, for them, it's like 80% diet, or excuse me, 80% training and then 20% diet, which it should be the other way around, just like how I was going to say it the first time. It should be 80% diet and then 20% training, right? Again, you could train literally as hard as possible, as hard as possible. But if your nutrition is garbage, you are not going to get anywhere. Yes, you may put on muscle because of the training itself, but if you're just really not, having a strategy with your nutrition, you're not prepping your food, there's no deliberate intention, then forget it. Forget it. You're not going to get the leanness that you want to get. So, yeah, and I think another thing that's worth mentioning, if you have to say no, just say no. Like, it's okay to say no to your friends. A lot of people get scared to say no because, oh, I'm going to upset my friends. Oh, they're not going to ask me to go out again. They're, going to literally just tell me, get out of the friend group, whatever it might be. And you know what? Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe that's what needs to happen. A lot of people just don't kind of want to take that leap forward because they're scared to lose their friends, which, yes, it sucks, but like, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get to your goal? Like, you need to ask yourself that question. And like I said earlier, if people are not willing to, support your goal, right? If they're going to be a roadblock for your goal, just get them out of the way, right? Just be like, hey, you know what? This is not worth doing anymore. I got something I want to do. I want to better myself, and you guys don't support that. So maybe I'm not the right guy for your group. And there's, no hard feelings, no nothing. But sometimes that is the truth. And you have to be able to tell the truth the way it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a little rant. There was no real structure, but I kind of wanted to just get that off my chest and kind of share that, because I see a lot of people, they just will do so well during the week and then they ruin it with one meal. Right? They'll go out and have no strategy and they'll undo their progress, and it's like this yo-yo effect of just, oh, we're getting lean. Oh, no, we ruined everything. Getting lean, ruining everything. And it's just like a week to week basis of like the same thing happening. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one.